Hello, everyone. Welcome to the High Speeds Live class. We're going to go ahead and get started, and I muted everyone, so if we get anybody that comes into the class, we won't be interrupted. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Ready? About work they could any dear, which made some has glad like, or last there shall us more good other no too just right by also up must day should much there out only her same order little yours matter now give well find and sent here who them going see school go take what new come sir were let no attention how account how did kindly think hope say year first please man. All right. Here are some pharmacy colleges and schools. We started this a few weeks ago, and this is the continuation. Here we go. Let me just date this so I know we covered it. All right, ready? Idaho State University College of Pharmacy, Keck Graduate Institute School of Pharmacy, Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, Bradenton Campus School of Pharmacy, Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, Distance Education Pathway School of Pharmacy, Lake Erie College of Osteopathic Medicine, Erie Campus School of Pharmacy, Lipscomb University College of Pharmacy, Loma Linda University School and Pharmacy, Long Island University Arnold and Marie Schwartz College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Manchester University College of Pharmacy, Marshall University School of Pharmacy, Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Boston MA College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Manchester, New Hampshire College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Worcester, Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Sciences, Mercer University of College of Pharmacy, Midwestern University, Chicago, Illinois Campus College of Pharmacy, Midwestern University Glendale Campus College of Pharmacy, North Dakota State University College of Pharmacy, Northeast Ohio Medical University College of Pharmacy, otherwise known as NEOMED College of Pharmacy, Northeastern University School of Pharmacy, Notre Dame of Maryland University School of Pharmacy, Nova Southeastern University College of Pharmacy, Ohio Northern University College of Pharmacy, Oregon State University College of Pharmacy, Pacific University Oregon School of Pharmacy, Palm Beach Atlantic University Lloyd L. Gregory School of Pharmacy, Purdue University College of Pharmacy, Regis University School of Pharmacy, Ruckert Hartman College for Health Professions, Roosevelt University College of Pharmacy, Rosalind Franklin University of Medicine and Science College of Pharmacy, Roseman University of Health Sciences College of Pharmacy, Samford University McWhorter School of Pharmacy, Shenandoah University School of Pharmacy, South Carolina College of Pharmacy, South Carolina Presbyterian College School of Pharmacy, South College TN School of Pharmacy, South Dakota State University College of Pharmacy, South University Georgia School of Pharmacy, South University South Carolina School of Pharmacy, Southern Illinois University Edwardsville School of Pharmacy, Southwestern Oklahoma State University School of Pharmacy, St. John's Fisher College Wegmans School of Pharmacy, St. John's University College of Pharmacy and Allied Health Professions, St. Louis College of Pharmacy, College of Pharmacy, Sullivan University School of Pharmacy, Temple University of the Commonwealth System of Higher Education School of Pharmacy. All right. Now my next drill is going to be Tangle Tamers. Here we go. Ready? Professional attitude, intoxicating liquor, absence of marriage, dead on arrival, lack of authorization, doctrine of ratification, breach of trust, perform his duties in the event that, scathing legal battles, sales tax measures, distinguished junior senator, sound the warning, unsafe and dangerous condition. Your verdict must be, her injury was sustained, unless plaintiff proves, copy of the indictment. All right, now I've got some different numbers and some of them have decimals in them. Here we go. 1.19, 9091. 4.85, 8856. 2.24, 7294. 3.49, 2298. 9.64, 2420. 1.88, 3762. 2.53, 1575. 5.31, 6145. 7.76, 4680. 5.44, 9190. 8.51, 5688. 2.47, 9472. 4.94, 9820. 6.43, 2024. 8.89, 6237. 5.38, 1279. 3.17, 6348. And 7.61, 86, 84. Sorry about that. My dog is barking. I think somebody's at the door, so I apologize for that. All right, now I've got a drill that was recommended. Actually, a student asked if I would do this particular drill. So this is the of the, to the, for the drill. Okay, focuses on of the, to the, for the. Here we go. Back of the door, report to the house, stop for the light, man of the hour, call to the station, party for the kids, end of the war, letter to the editor, subject for the speech, leg of the chair, note to the principal, chair for the patio, top of the heap, reference to the bill, gift for the child, rear of the car, advice to the patient, home for the aged, office of the president, petition to the court, ticket for the event, view of the scene, response to the ad, date for the trial, butt of the rifle, papers to the senator, tragedy for the family, root of the problem, case to the jury, hanging for the wall, piece of the rock, party to the action, passes for the concert, will of the majority, second to the motion, money for the homeless, report of the investigation, visit to the doctor, reason for the crime, treatment of the injury, nose to the grindstone, distance, counsel for the defense, objection to the question, force of the collision, witness for the state. And we'll do another one similar to that on Friday morning. All right, let's do some names and addresses. Here we go. Sergeant Vincent G. Serio, CERIO, 82nd Airborne Division, Fort Bragg, North Carolina, 28307. Mr. Michael Chavez, CHAVEZ, Embassy of Kuwait, 3500 International Drive, Washington, D.C., 20008. Ms. Judy L. Renschler, RENSCHLER, 4018 West 65th Street, Edina, Minnesota, 55435. Ms. Susan C. Shepard, SHEPARD, 812 East Witch Drive, Lafayette, Indiana, 47905. Richard S. Spong, SPONG, 106 Kenwood Court, Thief River Falls, Minnesota, 56701. Ms. Tracy G. Gruss, GRUSS, 5024 Oakwood Drive, Ton, New York, 14120. Ms. Madeline W. Vasquez, VASQUEZ, 484 Academy Street, New York, New York, 10034. Ms. Joy N. Sweet, SWEET, 1017 Shenandoah Drive, Maine, Indiana, 47905. Ms. Gail A. Egbers, EGBERS, Bethel Middle School, 2201 38th Avenue East, Spanaway, Washington, 98387. All right, let's do some initial consonants that focus on BL. Initial BL. All right, here we go. You blockhead, don't be so blunt. Bluff a little. The blaze blurred his vision. The blender blended the blameless blueberries. Big black bugs bleed black blood. She blundered when wearing a blindfold on her blind date. She sharpened his blade on a block of black steel. He blessed you with blarney when he drank blended whiskey. Bleach and blue, the linens. Blackberry and blueberry vines are blooming now. Use blotting paper to blot the blotched ink. The blast furnace blew the blazing fire. Blythe was to blame because the copy was blurred. Pens can have blue or black ink. Blue Point oysters are blissful to eat in the blizzards. Bliss, blast, blemish, and blooper begin with BL. She wore a blouse with bluebells, blueberries, and blue jays. Blue jackets don't bluster and blabber. The blimp was blessed on a bleary day. Bleeding black sheep don't like blacksmiths or blackthorns. A bloke won't blink at a bloated blowfly. Right. Got one drill left. Actually, I've got two left. I'm going to give you some medical words. Here we go. Alla, any wing-like process. Anatomy, the science of the structure of the animal body and the relation of its parts obtained through dissection. Cricoid cartilage, which together with the connected parts of the larynx regulate the action of the vocal cords. Arytenoid cartilage, the pitcher-shaped cartilages of the back of the larynx at the upper border of the Cricoid cartilage. Auditory, pertaining to the sense of hearing. Let's see here. Cartilage, the gristle or white elastic substance attached to the bone surface where they join with other bones and also forming certain parts of the skeleton. Centrifugal, moving away from the center. Cancellous, of a net-like spongy or lattice-like structure used mainly of bony tissue. Condyle, the rounded eminence of the articular end of a bone. Let's see, cranium, the skull, especially that part enclosing the brain. It is called the brain pan or the brain box. Cricoid cartilage, a ring-like cartilage forming the lower and the back part of the cavity of the larynx. Coronid, resembling the beak of a crow, the process of the ramus of the lower jaw, to which the temporal and part of the masseter muscles used in chewing are attached. Cornua, any horn-like excrescence or projection causing abnormal outgrowth. Diploe, the layer of spongy bone enclosed between the two plates of compact bones comprising of flat bones of the body. In the flat bones of the skull, this spongy substance is called the diploe. Diploe is a fold doubling, especially the overlapping of the bones in the skull, as joining as two plates of iron welded together. Epiphysis, a piece of bone separating from a long bone in the early life by cartilage, but later becoming a part of the larger bone. All right. Let me just date this so I know we covered it. And our last drill is going to be the shoal and shawl endings. So artificial and crucial. So you're either going to use your RBL for the SHL. I don't really see any shush or the shun ending. So I think it's pretty much like facial, F long A, SHL, those type of words. All right, so I'm going to give you the words and then the sentences. Here we go. Official, crucial, facial, potential, artificial, prudential, social, initial, racial, glacial, essential, judicial, beneficial, credential, residential, sequential, superficial, differential. And then here are your sentences. He's a potential juror. Finesse is essential. It's a crucial decision. Fix the differential. What are your initials? This period is crucial. It is very confidential. The potential is great. Get your credentials. I think it is crucial. It is too artificial. What is the potential? The differential is low. I think it is essential. It is inconsequential. It had a racial overtone. The initial period is over. She gave a glacial stare. He's the official reporter. The remark was prejudicial. We need racial equality. What's the initial? It was beneficial. Especially it's so. It looks artificial. Is it official now? He is antisocial. Go for a facial. It is a potential error. The rains were torrential. He is a judicial officer. It was superficial. He is influential. I'm just not social. It is a potential. Water is essential. The area is residential. Her testimony is crucial. The initial shock is over. It is a prudential policy. He did a superficial job. The house is palatial. It is an initial meeting. You need a facial. All right. Let's go ahead and get started with some literary. And I am going to start off with a small poem. Okay, here we go. It's called Me Stew. Here we go. I have nothing to put in my stew, you see, not a bone or a bean or a black-eyed pea, so I'll just climb in the pot to see if I can make a stew out of me. I'll put in some pepper and salt, and I'll sit in the bubbling water. I won't scream a bit. I'll sing while I simmer. I'll smile while I'm stewing. I'll taste myself often to see how I'm doing. I'll stir me around with this big wooden spoon and serve myself up at 1:45 and so bring out your stew bowls, your gobblers, and your snackers. Farewell, and I hope you enjoy me with some crackers. All right. Now our actual literary, the subject is, what is an executive? Here we go. Ready? Good executives are fat and thin, tall and short, bald and heavy thatched, clean shaven and bearded. In fact, they look like other men who are not business leaders. What makes them different? Most leaders in fields other than industrial management have a specific talent or high intellectual ability. The management leader has, however, more than a particular skill and high intelligence. He also has administrative competence and the power to make men follow him because of personal attributes. Let's take the personal qualities first. He is intelligent. He thinks clearly and consciously about his business and its problems. He thinks concisely, and decisiveness is a part of this intellectual ability. He makes up his mind, then acts not out of stubbornness, but because his decisions are based on sound judgment after all the facts are discovered and reviewed. Open-mindedness is another phase of this intelligence. He absorbs many points of view, particularly those of his competitors, his fellow associates and other people, and trends that affect his company. He knows what goes on beyond his own specialties and interests. Best of all, his affinity to open-mindedness and decisiveness is controlled by a quiet self-confidence, not a brassy evidence of assurance. He is emotionally stable. A top executive with the ups and downs of a camelback's continuously misleads his caravan of workers. They are confused by his moodiness and inconsistency. Unless they can judge his reactions and know what is expected of them, they fall apart as a team. His emotional outbursts, besides misleading them, warp his own thinking. When he permits his personal feelings to intrude on the job and explode, he dynamites his own productivity. He is skillful with people. A management leader realizes the importance of people to him and his business. He is very sensitive to what makes them tick. He probably has no degree in psychological manners or psychology, but he does know that men will follow the example he sets and will develop firm, pleasant relationships. He instinctively accepts responsibility. When management was a young profession, the manager felt responsible only for more black figures than red in the ledger to show his stockholders. However, the good executive has stretched this responsibility to include the welfare of his employees and his community until now. He feels more and more answerable to many people. Because of this feeling, he acquires a reputation for dependability, which he wants to live up to. In living up to it, today's good leader has a firmer grasp than yesterday's of the interrelations between his company and the social, political, and economic factors in his entire environment. He is dynamic. This does not mean he has a high-pressure personality. A quiet man can be as dynamic as the strikingly active person. It does not mean, or it does mean, that he dislikes the status quo, that he seeks new paths, new ideas, that he likes to accomplish and to grow. He dislikes to do things one way simply because they were always done that way. He wants to do new things. It is this dynamic quality, this driving power, that keeps smart management from running a good thing into the ground. He expresses himself clearly. The good executive makes himself understood, whether through the written or the spoken word. To get this meaning across simply and directly is vital in letters, reports, written orders, speeches, meetings, and casual conversations. These are his personal characteristics. What does he look like as an administrator? He is a planner. He understands the process of planning and applies it from the smallest problem on his desk to the company's big dream. He is an organizer. A plan, no matter how good, must be organized. Poor organization makes a good plan useless. He assembles his resources. He knows what equipment, men, money, materials, time, and energy he will need to carry out his plan. He is a director. He takes a good plan, well organized with the necessary resources available, and directs all three to a successful end. These personal and administrative features make up the profile of a good executive. By them, he is recognized even in the dark. No such thing as a typical executive exists, but all real leaders are and do these things. How they do them is up to the individual. One executive does them differently from another because any good leader tries to be himself and accomplish things in the way that comes most naturally to him. The fact remains that he has these traits and the activities. Many people have the same traits, but they are undeveloped. Given the opportunity to bring them out of cold storage, they can be leaders too. I worked my way up to 225 on that one. Okay. All right. Hi, Olivia. Good evening. All right. So I just did some literary, and we are on to jury charge. These are, this is going to be jury instruction. Okay. All right. Here we go. And I'll read this at 200, okay? Here we go. Members of the jury, as stated earlier, it is your duty to determine the facts, and in so doing, you must consider only the evidence I have admitted in the case. The term evidence includes the sworn testimony of the witnesses and the exhibits admitted in the record. Remember that any statements, objections, or arguments made by the lawyers are not evidence in the case. The function of the lawyers is to point out those things that are most significant or most helpful to their side of the case, and in so doing, to call your attention to certain facts or inferences that might otherwise escape your notice. In the final analysis, however, it is your own recollection and interpretation of the evidence that controls in the case. What the lawyers say is not binding upon you. So while you should consider only the evidence in the case, you are permitted to draw such reasonable inferences from the testimony and exhibits as you feel are justified in light of common experience. In your own words, or in other words, you may make deductions and reach conclusions which reason and common sense lead you to draw from the facts which have been established by the testimony and the evidence in the case. All right. We'll do one more since that was on the short side. Right. And this one I will start at, I'm going to start at 200, but I will work my way to 225, okay? All right, here we go. And the subject here is the authority of an agent, okay? Here we go. The powers of agents are limited. Generally speaking, when an agent is appointed for a particular purpose and is authorized to do certain acts, the liability of the principal for such acts depends, first, upon the power actually conferred. Second, the power reasonably necessary for the execution of those powers which are actually conferred. Third, the powers annexed by custom or usage, that is, such powers as the agent was accustomed to exercise for the company and permitted to exercise for it. And fourth, the powers in addition thereto, which the principal by his words or conduct would lead the third persons reasonably to believe that the agent possesses. An agent has implied authority to do whatever is reasonably necessary to carry out his express authority. It arises out of the authority expressly conferred. A principal is presumed to have conferred all auxiliary authority reasonably necessary to make the express authority effective. The term implied authority is sometimes used to denote such authority as the principal, in fact, intends that the agent shall have, where such intention is shown by his conduct rather than his words. The intention of the parties is the real test. A principal is bound by the acts of his agent within the apparent authority which the principal, knowingly or negligently, permits the agent to assume, or which he holds the agent out as possessing. All such acts are within the apparent scope of the authority confirmed and are binding upon the principal. Apparent authority being that which, though not actually granted, the principal knowingly permits the agent to exercise, or which he holds him out as possessing. Whenever a principal, on such authority as he appears to have by reason of the actual authority conferred, has placed an agent in such a position or situation that a person of ordinary prudence is justified in assuming that such an agent is authorized to perform a particular act on behalf of his principal, and such particular act has been performed, the principal is estopped to deny the agent's authority to perform it. Furthermore, the principal will not be permitted to prove that the agent's authority was in fact less extensive than that which with he was apparently clothed. Also, a party dealing with an agent must prove that the facts giving color to his agency were known to him when he dealt with the agent. He must prove that the agent was acting with the apparent scope of his authority and that he knew that the facts giving rise to such apparent authority. All right. Let me just date this. It's so hard to date everything with the 5. I just can't believe that we're in May. Oh, where does the time go? All right. So we'll go ahead and get started with some Q&A. And I'm going to start with one transcript, and then I'm going to switch it over to another one so you guys get a little bit of, variety here. And this is Plaintiff Questioning, and we'll start at 180 and I'll work my way to 225. Okay, here we go. What if D. Dan was just a person who had spent a short period of time with your suspect prior to the murder? With the suspect prior to the murder? Yes. Well, okay. For the hypothesis, not a witness to the murder, there's no indication that he has any evidence about the murder. What are you trying to do? Is find D. Dan? Because your murder said that at some prior time to the murder, he was with this person. Okay, so that's not a lead that you would spend all kinds of man hours or time trying to follow. Not if that's the only information you have. Let's change from moniker to, say, a known name. Let's say that you have the name Lisa Bedrazin, okay? And you run that information in a computer and you don't get a hit. And you have at least the same information. She's from the Los Angeles area. At one time may have lived in North Hollywood. How would you then go about locating a Lisa if you don't have a computer record of the name? I'm going to object to the hypothetical as a misstatement of the facts, since he's using the specific situation and case. It wasn't just a computer record. It was the Department of Motor Vehicles. That was the situation. The hypothetical, well, that will be sustained. Just reframe the hypothetical, please. Okay, let's say that you run the Lisa Bedrazin with the Department of Motor Vehicles and you don't get a hit on that particular name. And again, this is a person like D. Dan, where the only information is that your murder was with that person sometime prior to the murder. Well, if the Department of Motor Vehicles in the state doesn't have it, you're going to run a nationwide search with all the DMVs across the nation. You can also run on a computer database. You can run the name Lisa Bedrazin, and you can do that through a national directory, which lists all of the people in the United States that have the listed phone numbers. And then also, you can, if you want, run through the national database, the name, looking through the credit records. Now, you don't get the credit history, but you can get the post office mailings and addresses. You can also get a change of addresses under that name through National Computer Database. Basically, if it's the same situation where this witness really doesn't have any information about a crime, you would probably limit yourself to, I tried and I just couldn't come up with it. Okay, now let's change it a little bit again. Let's say that somebody gives you the name Tony or Bert or Betty or Tommy or Magoo or any other name, just that name. How would you go about locating those people? Just a common Christian first name? Yes. If the person you needed was very important, then you would probably start out in the area that that person who gave you the information came from. For instance, if they were from North Hollywood, you might go to the North Hollywood area and locate people that you know are friends of the person giving you that information. They may, in fact, know somebody named Tony or Magoo or something like that, but with just a first name. That's really difficult. And with regard to locating a vehicle, let's say that the vehicle is very important to the case, that the vehicle is actually involved in the murder itself. The information you have is that it's a white or a tan Jeep Cherokee or a Wrangler, let's say. How would you go about locating that? The description was beige with black trim, if we are getting technical, Your Honor. Sustained. Just refrain from the hypothetical, okay, counsel? Okay, the description that you have is a white or beige Jeep Cherokee or Wrangler with black stripes or pinstripe things on it. No year? No, nothing, just that. Okay, no. And older, say late 2000s. It has newer interior and obviously doesn't go with the vehicle. Well, if it was extremely important, starting with the source of the information of where you got the description, trying to find out, well, how did they see that vehicle? And if it's a passerby who has no other information, if it's somebody who might have known the driver or might have known somebody else in the car, you can start following those leads up. If you suspect that the vehicle is being destroyed, then you put out a warrant. You let law enforcement know that you are looking for a car with that make and model and description, and then pass it out to the patrol officers who keep a lookout for it. You might notify the junk yards or the scrap yards that you're looking for this type of vehicle in case something like that comes in. It all depends on how far you can, depends on where the information stops. If you have somebody that just walked by and just saw the vehicle and you no longer have the information about it, you're pretty limited as to just that information. If that person happens to know somebody else that was in the vehicle, then that gives you one more lead, and you can just kind of work like that until you exhaust all of your possibilities or you locate the car. Thank you. Mr. Lonsford, in your law enforcement experience and in your experience as a private investigator, isn't it true that there are some vehicles that disappear and are never found? Oh yes, that is true. And is that also true of weapons? Say a gun is used in a crime and it is never located? In real life, there's a lot of them, yes. You testified that a snitch is a street label for the person who gives the information of a criminal activity in exchange for some consideration on a pending case. Is that correct? That's correct. Isn't it also true snitches may have given information without any type of consideration? We call those citizens. Have you ever heard of a person who was in custody for a crime and gave information out on a case without any expectations or consideration being given to them? To be perfectly honest with you, I have always found that there is a reason. It may be a revenge reason. They may not be asking specifically for consideration on their case, but at the same point, there is a reason why they may be doing it. I've never had anybody except a citizen who is in custody just decide to come up and give me personally information. Does it happen? I'm sure it does, but it is probably really rare. Okay, now if a person who was in custody did give the information in a case, that would put their life in danger, wouldn't it? Yes, it would, probably. Whether they were getting any consideration for that information or not, yes, it would. If it became known that they had given the information, yes, absolutely. And would you say that it's unusual for an undercover officer to conceal his face by a ski mask or what's been described as a ninja mask when he's around other persons that may be involved in drug activity? Did you say unusual? Yes. No, it's not unusual. In the case that you've seen where persons have confessed to a crime that they did not commit, how do you know that they didn't commit the crime? I'm sorry, would you repeat that one time again? In the cases that you have known where persons confess to crimes that they did not commit, how do you know that they didn't commit the crimes? Well, it's generally in the follow-up investigation. Sometimes, for instance, once I arrested a man for a robbery. Right after it happened, he was sitting at a counter having a cup of coffee. He was very eager to confess to the robbery and solve others. And at that point in time, we were satisfied he committed the crime, and we began to investigate to find corroborating evidence to prove he committed it. In doing so, we turned up the information to a homicide that he committed in the San Bernardino Mountains and that the sheriff's office was investigating. As it came out, this man confessed in order to get in jail to avoid being a suspect or being on the run for this other crime, thinking maybe he wouldn't get caught. So what you do is, when you get a confession, you then try and corroborate the confession with witnesses, evidence, physical evidence that may be collected. Sometimes you may use other techniques like polygraphs, things like that, to try and find out whether or not this person is telling the truth. And if you can't find any other evidence, sometimes you're really hard pressed. I know a lot of cases where the district attorney's office refused to file a confession because we couldn't corroborate the man's confession. Thank you very much. I have no further questions. Thank you very much. Mr. Bristol? Yes, Your Honor, thank you. So following up to some of the hypotheticals that Mr. Abackerley gave you, Mr. Lonsford, supposing you are doing a significant homicide investigation and you have a crime scene, which is a portion of the crime scene where, say, a body is found. And in your mind, you have to, after interviewing some witnesses, determine that the body was there, but the killing occurred in a vehicle, and that you determined that the vehicle was the primary crime scene. Would you consider then that the vehicle was a significant part of the case? Well, certainly it's significant, yes. And so then would you take the steps, all of those steps that you described, to try to locate the vehicle? Well, yes, you would try and find the vehicle. And again, you have to base this on what physical evidence might the vehicle contain and how important the vehicle is to the case in order to prosecute the individual or to prove that the crime occurred in a certain way. So you have to take all of those things into consideration. But certainly, if that's the crime scene and you could get a hold of it, it would certainly help in many ways in presentation of your case, or at least solving the case. Let's say that you have the information that the primary crime scene, the vehicle, may contain blood, bullets, perhaps body tissue, fingerprints of both of the individuals that you're interviewing, and perhaps other people. Would you think that that would be then something that you would want to do a follow-up investigation on to try and locate the vehicle? Sure, ideally you would want to find the vehicle. That would be a significant evidence, yes. And when a person confesses to a crime, then do you just stop your investigation? You've got a confession, then you don't do anything else to corroborate the confession or anything like that, depending on where you're at in the investigation. Sometimes you have a person that confesses to a crime and you don't have the evidence against the person. And so by using their statements, then you can go out and try and collect the evidence that will help convict them that corroborates their statements. It also becomes your case or presentation in front of a jury. Sometimes you just have a dead person and maybe the name of a suspect, and then sometimes the confession comes before you're able to collect other evidence, or maybe there is no other evidence that's been able to be collected, and your evidence depends upon that statement to collect the evidence. And doing an investigation, if you have the information given to you, let's say a witness confesses to the crime and gives you different versions of how it occurred and gives you various names like Bert, Betty, Johnny, Tommy, Magoo, a whole bunch of names, tells you what they're staying on 22nd Street in Los Angeles at a rooming house where they were living in. Would you make an effort to go out to that rooming house and try to contact some people by the name of Betty, Bert, and Magoo to see if they existed? Well, yes, I would do that, of course. If you can locate the rooming house, I would. You never know who might have information about a person's background, what kind of vehicle they drove. In fact, if we are missing a vehicle and we know where their whereabouts are on a certain day, all kinds of information that could be gained by doing like a neighborhood search can be done. All right, I'm going to switch transcripts. Hi, Catherine. All right, switching transcripts. How are we doing on time? Okay. Let's see here. And this is about a gas line issue. So we're talking to a gas company employee. It's going to start with defense. And I'll start right at 200. Even though we got to 225 in the last transcript, I read a lot of 225. But because this is a new one, we'll start at 200, more for myself, kind of get the feel of the transcript because it's brand new. It's not very long though. And I will work my way to 225. Okay. All right, here we go. It's Depo, but plaintiff comes in. Here we go. Mr. Estrada, can I call you Bill? Sure, yes. Is that okay? Have you ever had your deposition taken before? My deposition taken before? Yes. Have you ever given a deposition previously? Yes. Like for this particular? No, just generally. No. Okay, has your attorney explained to you how it's going to proceed? Pretty much, yes. And you understand how it's going to proceed? Yes. Do you understand that the testimony you are going to give today is under oath as if it could be used in a court of law? Yes. Okay, when you answer a question, make sure you answer it loudly so the court reporter can hear it. Okay, don't use hand gestures, don't shake your head because she can't take two down on her paper. Okay, a transcript will be basically taken from what she is typing out right now. Okay, and you will have an opportunity to take a look at it. If there is anything that you remember that wasn't said, you'll have an opportunity to change it, okay? Okay, just keep that in mind. Wait for the end of the question before you answer. Think about the question before you answer it. Okay, and then basically give your answer. Don't guess. Use your best estimate on the answer. Be sure you understand the question, okay? Okay, if you don't understand the question, say, I don't understand. Would you say that again, or could you please restate it? Is there any legal reason why this deposition shouldn't take place today? Any legal reason? No. Okay, not that I'm aware of, and he wouldn't know about that. He's not an attorney. That's an interesting question. Did you review any documents today in preparation for the deposition? No, I did not. No, okay, I'm going to do some preliminary questions. Could you state your full name and spell it? Bill Estrada, Billestrada. And what is your name? What is your age? I am currently 44 years old. And what is your date of birth? 8/25/72. And what is your business address and phone number? Business address is 4495 Howard Avenue, Riverside, California, 92507. My phone number is area code 909-335-7665. Give him your current title. My current title is Field Operations Supervisor 2. And that's with the Southern California Gas Company? Yes, it is. Okay, what are your current duties? Current duties are mostly field duties overseeing new construction, replacement repairs of underground gas lines. Okay, what is your educational background? Educational background, I have an Associate of Science degree in Supervision Industrial Management. Where did you get that from? Chaffey College. What year did you get that at? In 2001. Ever been convicted of a felony? No, sir. Involving dishonesty or perjury? No. How long have you been with the gas company? I've been with the gas company for 21 years. Were you employed in 2014 by the gas company? Yes, I was. And were you working in December of that year? Yes. Okay, did you have an occasion? Were you ever asked to go to 5260 La Sierra Avenue in December of that year? Yes. Okay, and do you remember if it was Christmas or about Christmas time? About Christmas time, yes. Do you pretty well remember that incident in your mind? Not clearly. Oh, okay. When I asked you if you had been there before, what prompted you to go there in December of that year? I was requested to take pictures of an incident that had taken place prior. Okay, do you remember the date that you were requested to go out to the site? No, I don't. Do you remember if it was Christmas, the day before Christmas? No, I don't. Okay, so do you remember if it was in December though? Right, it was. It was around, I don't know. It was before Christmas or after Christmas, but I don't know. It was in December. And how did you get called out there and who called you out there? I don't recall who called. Okay, well, did someone call you or did you receive an order? Well, I don't know how I got the initial call to go out there. In the mornings when we were there, a lot of conversations that take place somewhere in that morning. I was asked to go out and meet a crew and take pictures of an incident while the crew was on call. Okay, did a supervisor ask you to do that? Yes, it was another supervisor. And who was that? I can't recall if it was a supervisor out of Ontario or out of the Riverside facility. Okay, what is your title there? At this time, my title was field supervisor. Okay, and what did you do when you got the call? It was in the morning here. I made the plans to meet the crew out there, and they were ready for me to take the pictures. Could you recall a time that was? First thing in the morning, somewhere around 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, when I received the instructions to go out there. And what time did you actually get out there? Oh, to my best estimate, it was somewhere prior to 10 o'clock that morning. And when you got out there, what did you do? What did you first see? What did you see and what did you do? I'm going to object on the ground that it's compound, one or another. What did he see or what did he do? When you first got there, what did you see? The crew was up by the house. Who was in the crew? The only one I could recall was the crew leader, his name is Tom Lobato. What is his title? He's a crew leader. Oh, okay, and who else? Do you remember anybody else? No, I don't recall who the crew assistant was. How many people were in the crew? Just the two of them. Tom and someone else? Yes. What did you do when you got there? My assignment was to go there and take pictures. My intention was to drop off the camera to him and let him take the pictures that were necessary to be taken and then go. And how many pictures did you take? I don't recall. What kind of camera did you use? It was a digital camera. And did the pictures get printed that morning? Yes, they did. What did you do with the pictures? The pictures were given to the crew leader, and that is Tom Lobato? Yes. What did you take the pictures of? An excavation that was open. And where? How close to the house was it? Do you recall? Very close to the house. It was at our meter location. Oh, okay. Which is probably about a foot away from the house or so. That is an estimate. Okay, do you recall what the picture depicted of? Two lines. Let me back up for just a minute. I know this is a little bit late, but I'm going to object as to vague and ambiguous as to multiple pictures. What did the picture depict? Pictures. Are you asking what he took pictures of, essentially? What he took pictures of, and what did the picture show? Again, that's compound, counsel. If you could break that down, he would be better able to answer the question. Break it down how? Per picture? It's pretty simple. As I said, go ahead. All right, I don't recall how many pictures were taken. Okay, from the best as you can recall, okay, I know one picture was taken of an excavation, which our crew had been sent to dig up, and that picture showed our gas line and another line which we guessed was their house line. Did you use any burn marks on the pipes when you took the pictures? Yes, we did, or I did. Okay, where were the burn marks located? On our gas riser, on the vertical run of our gas service. Could you explain that a little bit better? I don't understand that. Okay, our gas line runs underground and then it curves up as it comes above ground to the shutoff valve. And the part that runs up and down, which would be north and south, there was a burn mark there where the other line was pretty close to our gas service. Is that above ground? No, it is below ground. The burn marks were below ground? Below ground, yes, it is not visible. How do you know they were burn marks then? I have had the experience in seeing them. with my experience with the gas company, I am a welder. I've been a welder, and part of my job is to inspect the welds on the crews, contracts welders, arc welders, and I know what an arc burn looks like. How much experience have you had in that area? 21 years in this position, and a welder from since 2011. And I've been a supervisor for the last 8 years, supervising large construction crews, arc welders. In your experience, how many times have you seen burn marks like that before on the gas lines underneath the ground? In the past several years, probably about 3. Those type of arc burns are electrical. How are we doing on time? Okay, perfect. Let's do some read back. All right. I think that was probably a little more on the difficult side for you, but that's okay. Good practice. All right. So this Q&A focuses on contractions. So you're going to hear different contractions versus the ones that aren't contractions. It's versus it is, and so on. And it's Q&A, okay? All right, so I'm going to read it. 225, 200, 180. And it is plaintiff attorney questioning. Here we go. Isn't it clear to you that you weren't the cause of the accident? It is very clear to me. It's also clear to me that I'm a victim. I am the one who was hit. The day of the accident, that was a Tuesday, wasn't it? It was. Where were you coming from? My home. Your home is located on 1st Street, right? Yes. It is a 2-story house? Yes. Well, if you count the basement, you could say it's 3 stories. There's a basement? Yes, there is. That is pretty rare in California, isn't it? I guess so. Did you build the home? No, the basement has always been there. That's just the way it was built. I see. Since the accident, have you been able to go upstairs? No, I haven't. You have not been able to walk very well, have you? No, I have not. Okay, so let's do that again at 200. Isn't it clear to you that you weren't the cause of the accident? It is very clear to me. It's also clear to me that I'm a victim. I am the one who was hit. The day of the accident, that was a Tuesday, wasn't it? It was. Where were you coming from? My home. Your home is located on 1st Street, right? Yes. It is a 2-story house? Yes. Well, if you count the basement, you could say it's 3 stories. There's a basement? Yes, there is. That is pretty rare in California, isn't it? I guess so. Did you build the home? No, the basement has always been there. That's just the way it was built. I see. Since the accident, have you been able to go upstairs? No, I haven't. You have not been able to walk very well, have you? No, I have not. All right, so we'll do it one last time at 180. Here we go. Isn't it clear to you that you weren't the cause of the accident? It is very clear to me. It's also clear to me that I'm a victim. I am the one who was hit. The day of the accident, that was a Tuesday, wasn't it? It was. Where were you coming from? My home. Your home is located on 1st Street, right? Yes. It is a 2-story house? Yes. Well, if you count the basement, you could say it's 3 stories. There's a basement? Yes, there is. That is pretty rare in California, isn't it? I guess so. Did you build the home? No, the basement has always been there. That's just the way it was built. I see. Since the accident, have you been able to go upstairs? No, I haven't. You have not been able to walk very well, have you? No, I have not. All right. How are you, Catherine?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Doing well.
Good.
How did this feel, this read back here?
Good. I haven't been on my machine at all today, so I came in and I was a little like not warmed up. So, but it was all right.
No worries. And isn't it amazing what a difference it makes when you have time to warm up as opposed to just jumping in?
Yeah.
as a reporter, I still warm up, you know, like I never just go to a job and just jump in. Like I always do like my stitching and, you know, initials, like go through the alphabet and just whatever, just to get my fingers moving, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm just dating this. All right, so we'll go ahead and if you want, I can start. Did you find your spot?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so I'll start if you want. First Q&A.
Sure.
All right. Question. Isn't it clear to you that you weren't the cause of the accident? Answer. It is very clear to me. It's also clear to me that I'm a victim. I am the one who was hit.
Question. The day of the accident, that was a Tuesday, wasn't it? Answer, it was.
Question. Where were you coming from? Answer. My home.
Question. Your home is located on First Street, right? Answer, yes.
Awesome. Question. It is a 2-story house. Answer. Yes. Well, if you count the basement, you could say it's 3 stories.
Question. There's a basement? Answer, yes, there is.
Question. That is pretty rare in California, isn't it? Answer. I guess so.
Question. Did you build the home? Answer, no. The basement has always been there. That's just the way it was built.
Question. I see. Since the accident, have you been able to go upstairs? Answer. No, I haven't.
Question. You have not been able to walk very well, have you? Answer, no, I have not.
Awesome. Great job. All right. Well, feel free to go. Oh, I did do a drill for you. Let's see, let me find it. So if you want to go back and listen to the recording, it's the,
Okay.
let me see where it went. I did the of the, to the, for the. I did a drill for that. And then on Friday,
Awesome.
yes, so it's of the, to the, for the. And then on Friday, I'm going to do from the, in the, on the. So today was of the, to the, for the. Friday will be from the, in the, on the.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there any word on the schedule changing, or is it the same as of
Not
now?
yet. That's why, you know, we just went ahead and just kept everything the same because, you know, I threw in some ideas and then he had some ideas. So he just said, let's just keep it for now because he wants to give everybody heads up. So, yep, everything's the same for now. Oh, and then I had jury duty last week. I ended up getting off at the last minute. It's kind of funny. I spent 2 days in the jury room, or no, in the courtroom. And I was sitting with the 12 jurors in the box, like we were ready to go. And at the last minute, the defense attorney, the judge came in and said, don't take this personal, but they had asked us if we knew anybody in law enforcement because it was a criminal case on, it was pretty bad. It was like child molestation, and I can talk about it now because I got dismissed, but I mean, I won't, go into details, but they asked us, do you know anybody that's in law enforcement? I said, yes, my husband's best friend is a sheriff in, Hemet. And so, anyways, she didn't the defense attorney didn't dismiss me. So I thought, well, I was there for 2 full days as they were talking to other, jury members that were sitting out. I mean, they already had me in the box and I thought, oh, this is a done deal. I'm here, then they excused us, brought in more people to question. And then when I thought, I was going to be there because it was going to take, they said 2 to 3 weeks. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I even said, I have a test on Friday. And because I took my real estate test, I said, I have a test Friday. And the judge goes, oh, we won't be here Friday. I'm going to be on another case. And I'm like, oh, I tried so hard, like I said, can I just, be put on another case? And he said, well, it may not take 2 weeks. And it was just funny because people, and not that I was trying to get out of it, I was just worried about the 2 to 3 week thing. So then a lot of people said, I have an issue with this case. And I didn't have an issue with it. But it was funny because then he said, okay, you can go downstairs, you're excused, but they're going to put you on a different trial. I mean, it was like they were not getting out of it, Oh, and this one lady said, I have a daughter and I watch her and she's not in school yet. And he said, oh, how old is she? And she said 3. And he said, oh, we have daycare now downstairs as long as they're potty trained. I mean, it was like nobody was going anywhere, So, but at the last minute,
Yeah.
she excused me and someone else. So I was shocked. I just thought for sure I'm on this jury, So.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway,
Wow.
I got off.
Yeah. 2 to 3 weeks. That's a lot.
That is a long time. And he did have some days in there where it was because he wasn't going to be there, but still that's a long time to commit, So they don't oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say my aunt, and I never realized this. She said she used to do grand jury, and she said some of those people were on that grand jury for like months and months. Like I didn't realize that's how that works.
Yeah.
Like it's like it becomes part of their life, and I'm like, are
Yes.
these regular citizens? Like it's crazy.
Well, and it's crazy too how they don't just excuse anybody anymore, like unless
They have daycare. That's funny.
Yeah, he's like, oh, we have daycare now. We have a daycare service downstairs. It's right across the hall, and as long as they're potty trained, they're there. I mean, it's just very hard now to get out of it. They want you to serve, and these poor people that thought they were going to get out of it because they said, and maybe the case did bother it because not everybody could sit in on something like that, but. He goes, okay, you're excused. And I think they thought, oh, good, we're off. And he goes, go downstairs and fill out a form. They're going to put you on a new case. And they're probably going, oh my gosh, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So I just thought, okay, I'll take my chances. And I kind of had a feeling, I thought maybe that defense attorney would, let me go. Cause she said, well, how well do you know this sheriff in Hemet? And I said, well, it's my husband, one of his best friends. And so, but then when she didn't excuse me, I thought, oh, I guess I'm going to be here. And then at the last minute, I mean, they were down to, I thought they had their 12 that they wanted. And at the last minute, he said, okay, we took a break. And then he said, all right, don't get your feelings hurt. But there are 2 people that we're going to excuse. Defense wants to excuse, no hard feelings. And I just thought, wow, no hard feelings. I'm not going to be. He actually said that one lady got excused not too long ago, and she was so mad she waited outside the courtroom doors. And when they took a break, she came in and wanted to know why they didn't want her because she wanted to sit on the case. She said she took it personal. Like, wow. Okay.
Man.
Yeah. But it was neat to sit there and watch the court reporter, So.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Did you have to talk about the fact that you have been, in that realm? Yeah.
Yes. And that was another thing he said, because they wanted to know, they gave you a piece of paper and they went around the room, they, went around the jury box and they said, state your name, what you do, what your occupation is, are you married? Do you have kids and all that? So then I said, I'm a court reporter. And he goes, oh, I love court reporters. He said, we're just excited to have you here. And his court reporter just shook her head like, yeah, you're not going anywhere, So So, and then there was another guy that said, "Oh, I'm in law enforcement. Oh, I love law enforcement. We're so happy to have you here." Like people that you would think that they would say, "Okay, you're excused," you know.
Yeah.
No, not anymore. So, anyways. Oh, and then this one lady was really mad. She was mad. She did not want to be there. And he just said, "Look, ma'am," because she kind of like threw her purse down. And he said, "Look, ma'am, this is your duty, you know, as a citizen here. You have to, this is your duty to serve on a jury if you're called to do so, you know." "Well, I don't want to be here." You know, she was just so mad. So,
I mean, some people though, like we live in such an awesome country that we even have this system, and then like to get mad about being inconvenienced. I mean,
and that's exactly what he said. How would you feel if you were the defendant and you had somebody that didn't want to be here to listen to your case, you know?
yeah.
Some other country, you just have a ruler that's going to judge it for you and you don't have a jury. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, that's the first time I've ever sat on a jury. So it was not even that I got that far, but that's the first time I've always called and then they just extend to the next day. And then finally you're excused. And that was the funny thing is I called Sunday night. I was excused. Monday night I was excused. Then Tuesday go in. I was then there, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then Thursday but man, it took a long time, probably because of the case. It took a long time for them to decide who they were going to keep, you know? So it's just,
I've never been called, and I don't know if you have to live in a place for a certain amount of time before they would call you. Like, so I was never called in California, and I've never been called here, but it sounds like they're getting maybe that like they need people. So I'm sure when I move back to California, I'll get called.
yeah. So they'll be like, "She's back."
Yeah, she's back. Let's get her.
Yeah. Well, you know, my daughter lives in Pismo Beach and she has only been there not even a year. And she got called. It's kind of funny. She got called like a month before me and she had to serve on a jury and it was almost 2 weeks long. So,
Wow.
yeah. Yep. And they
I,
found him.
I think it would be cool.
She said it was, and she's a school teacher. And she said it was it was awesome. She was happy,
Yeah.
but she also still gets paid because she works for, you know, the government. So she was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here. I want to," you know, she said the case was just so interesting. And then they found him not guilty. So she said that was exciting. He was so happy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyways,
Cool.
all right. Well, I have to run. I have a
Okay.
Bible study tonight. So
Oh, fun.
yeah.
Well, have
Okay.
fun.
And I'll see you Friday morning.
Yes, I will be here Friday morning.
Okay. All right.
All right. I'll see you then.
All right. Have a good night.
Okay. You
Bye,
too.
Kathy.
Bye.
Bye.